790-2040 is the phone number. You are on Wake Up Tucson. If you have it, do it. But I'm checking emails right now, Ed. So I think he's still fine. So
okay.
Just
I figured it'd be faster to go the other way. So
I'm looking at my wife's email account right now and see if there's any last minute changes, and I don't see any. So crap happens.
Yeah, he'll be there. He's a busy man.
Dennis Praeger coming up next. Let's talk about this movie, No Safe Spaces, in relation to where we're at, right? So let's bring it to a little local level. We are the home of the Civility Institute. We are the home of a TOSD employee threatening the life of Martha McSally during the city council's proclaimed Civility Month. And no one from the city of Tucson who voted for which was a 7-0 vote, I assume, on Civility Month, none of those elected officials actually came out and said, man, that's a bad thing. This is the place where we have the young lady and her friend or two from when we had the Border Patrol folks speaking at the University of Arizona who wanted to go in and scream their head off about having such folks talking to, criminal justice students? So, and so being that we're a community that's dominated by a large research university, the timing of this movie and what it does, I can't. I mean, it's kind of perfect timing, right? Leading into an election year, the safe spaces, the diversity czars, the idea that we had these students demanding such things. We hired one diversity czar for $200,000 plus, but we liked the other person too, so we hired them. We are knee deep in the safe space discussion right now. So Ed Alexander is busily working the phones right now, so we'll see what's going on with Mr. Praeger. I thought it was also cute today in the paper that a young man, let's see what his name is. I always like to go to the bottom of the op-ed first. He's he's the Jeff Boyce, the academic director of Eram College Border Studies program and a visiting scholar at the Mexican American Studies program at the University of Arizona, had his short op-ed about, despite the 205 outcome, we still need to do more work. So with what are we doing here? We do more work can be done. He talks about, published on the 23rd, the Binational Migration Institute. Our research report features original data that documents the totality of financial costs to accumulate to a household when an immediate family member is taken into immigration custody. We find an average that an immigration arrest costs a household more than $24,000. These financial costs include everything from bonding a loved one out of detention, hiring an attorney, and impacts an employment that reduces a family's downstream income. So the part that's funny about this, of course, is that I guess if they didn't come here illegally, they wouldn't have any of that. 790-2040 is the phone number. Let's go right to the phones. Let's go to a guy named Dennis Praeger on line 17. Whoa. Look at you.
You got to do this first.
Thank you.
That's very rare.
Ed's in there.
Ed and I are both Praegerites, so he had to give you the proper intro, Dennis. Welcome to the show.
That's really sweet. I'm very touched.
Of course, that's Hans Zimmer from the early part of the Gladiator movie. Dennis, welcome back to KVOI.
I know. Good to be with you. Thank you.
We're knee-deep in Tucson, Arizona, and before you came on, I was talking about the University of Arizona dominates this community, and we got the safe spaces. We got, remember, we're the home of the Civility Institute that doesn't actually want to call anyone out for being incivil, maybe unless you're possibly a conservative. So talk about the journey that you and Mr. Carolla took to get to this film called No Safe Spaces.
Adam Carolla and I are the last team you would imagine in the United States of America. and he makes a big deal of this when we go around the country doing dialogues together at various venues. He said, if you sort of had a dartboard, that's the only way you would have Adam Carolla and Dennis Praeger united, theoretically. He comes from a very lower middle class, even lower class, dysfunctional family, no education, on welfare. He was a blue-collar worker through his 20s in construction. I come from a middle-class Jewish family in New York. He's an atheist. I'm a believer. I mean, on paper, we have nothing in common. But in fact, we have everything in common because we both love liberty. And we're watching something happen that I can tell you as a student of history has never happened in American history, a threat to free speech. This has never happened. We've had all sorts of problems in American life. We've had a civil war over slavery, but we have never had this. This is I believe, a mortal threat to the greatest of the American values, liberty. And it's emanating from the university. That's why it's called, as you pointed out, No Safe Spaces. Safe Spaces is this concoction that if somebody comes to the college or university whom you differ with, you can go to a room called a safe space. They literally have rooms named safe spaces. I've seen them on universities. And what happens? You are given hot chocolate. You are given Play-Doh. You watch frolicking kittens on movies, all so that, God forbid, well, they wouldn't use God, but so Correct. That marks forbid, you are not allowed to be pained or triggered by a conservative speaker.
We have a great intern who actually goes to Princeton, and he actually called us the day after the Trump victory. And it was like a Friday the 13th horror show going on down at Princeton. So we know exactly what you're talking about.
You know what? Well, that's another issue. That's the issue of the infantilization on the left. They are so narcissistic that they don't understand. We were as depressed at Barack Obama's second-term victory as they were at Donald Trump's first-term victory.
Correct.
But we didn't carry on. We went to work. We didn't shut down anything. You know, I'm Jewish, and I'm very involved in Jewish life. And there were synagogues that sat Shiva. To sit Shiva means to sit seven. It is the 7 days of mourning when an immediate relative dies. That they would use the religion, desecrate the religion, because they so dislike a presidential election result. It is exactly a religious analogy to what he saw at Princeton.
We're on with Dennis Praeger. The movie's No Safe Spaces with him and Adam Carolla. Opens tomorrow. Can you enumerate a couple of the signposts on the slippery slope towards where we're at today in this safe spaces world?
Yes, but if I may first, it's very important, obviously.
Sure.
If it's opening in Phoenix tomorrow and through the weekend.
Okay.
If it sells out in Phoenix, which is, I know my Arizona pretty well. You guys in Tucson, it's not that big a trip. If it sells out in Phoenix, it will go national. Phoenix has the chance. And by the way, I have to add this. This is a great film, and it is not great because I'm in it. I'm in it, and it happens to be great. But I am not being humble. It's not something I'm normally accused of anyway. I'm being completely honest. I'm in a great movie, but I'm not the reason it is great. I can't believe how good it is, frankly. I did not expect it to be as good as it is. I've seen it 4 times, and I do not have a great attention span, believe it or not. But it rivets you. It rivets you. It's funny. It's scary. It's everything. So please, folks, go to nosafespaces.com on the internet, and you can get tickets and see the trailer and so on. Signposts on the way.
Yes, sir.
Listen, wherever, this is a rule of life. I draw a huge distinction between liberals and leftists. I have a lot in common with liberals. I have nothing in common with leftists. And leftists, when they gain power, they destroy liberals. But it's too late. The liberals were so naive, they thought their enemy is conservatives. But the signpost is this: wherever the left gains power, liberty loses. There is no exception to it. The left does not value liberty. And this is the first time in American history the left is so powerful. Liberals have been powerful. You know, Franklin Roosevelt is the liberals' icon. Franklin Roosevelt spoke over and over and over about protecting, are you ready? Christian civilization.
Right.
Can you imagine if Donald Trump said that today? It would be another reason for impeachment.
The Trump theocracy.
The Trump theocracy, perfectly stated. And yet Franklin Roosevelt over and over spoke about, and I'm a Jew telling people this, spoke about protecting Christian civilization.
I'm looking at the Arizona listing of no safe spaces right now, so people know. And right now, it's pretty much in every major theater in Phoenix right now. So if you want to help Dennis and Adam get this movie widespread, you need to go up to Phoenix this weekend, and it's a U of A road game. Go up to Phoenix and watch this movie called No Safe Spaces. Just wanted to get that out.
Thank you for saying that. By the way, I'm very touched that you said if you want to help Dennis and Adam. The truth is, and I say this from the bottom of my heart, if you want to help America, see the movie.
Right.
Because this is a wake-up call. When people see this, they will finally understand what we're involved with today.
So let me ask you this question, and we want to go see the movie, but how can the average listener right now who thinks the way you and I think about this, how in their small way can they help reverse the trend?
Raise children who understand the American Trinity, which is my term, but it is not my content. Every coin has it. Liberty, in God we trust, e pluribus unum. Raise your children to understand that. Number 2, get people to vote. Number 3, help the fighters. Good people are divided among 3 groups: those who fight, those who help the fighters, and those who do nothing. Those who do nothing is by far the largest group of decent people. So what you need to understand, everyone needs to, helping the fighters is as good as fighting. If the troops don't get supplies, they don't fight. They can't fight. Help the people who are fighting. A lot of good places are fighting right now. This movie is fighting. My Praeger University fights. Turning Point USA fights. All the great websites that are out there on our side are fighters. Help them. Those things, beginning with how you raise your kids or grandkids, will turn the country back to its original values.
Real quick, let's talk about Praeger University and your friends at Google when it comes down to them censoring your videos. How's that battle going right now?
It's at the Ninth Circuit Court. That was the last court hearing. We don't know what will happen. My assumption is it will go to the Supreme Court. Whether the Supreme Court hears the case or not, there's no way to know. I can only say this: if Google is given a green light to censor what it doesn't like, then the greatest conduit of information in human history will begin to squelch non-left-wing ideas. And that's a very scary thing. I wish we were not in a lawsuit.
So Google's a private company. It's a private platform. What's the solution to this?
Well, I always give to that excellent argument, I give the following analogy. Let us say the three major airlines of the United States, American, United, and Delta, announce, if you come on board with the Wall Street Journal, we will not give you a seat. They're private companies. Can they do that?
No, sir.
Okay. That's the same thing as Google and us.
So this movie is called No Safe Spaces. And you got to go up to Phoenix if you want to help America. I'll modify my help America see this movie. Go take the roadie up to Phoenix. It's no more than an hour and a half if you hit Ahwatukee and Superstition Springs Mall. And go watch No Safe Places. Check out the trailer. We just played the trailer before you came on. In the trailer, Dennis walks in slow motion, looking very dramatic. So,
I think they slowed me down. I don't walk that slowly as it happens. That's very funny. I know it cracks me up seeing that scene. By the way, it's No Safe Spaces, not No Safe Places. And again, just go on the internet. No Safe Spaces, and it's Phoenix tonight. By the way, Adam and I will be there tomorrow.
Oh, very nice. What time are you going to be? Do you know exactly where you guys are going to be?
No, I think the information is on the website on No Safe Spaces.
I will get it. I'll get it out.
I know that I will be broadcasting my radio show from one of the theaters.
Oh, so, awesome.
Yeah.
All right, we'll get the right information out for you. I promise.
I'm really grateful to you,
Dennis. Thanks for the time and what you guys are doing, and we'll talk to you again in the future, sir.
I would like that. Thanks again.
There he is, Dennis Praeger, one of my favorite syndicated radio show hosts of all time. When we come back tomorrow, Arizona Pottery, Brad Huff. I think Food Friday has been shifted, Ed. It's going to be Sherry Punjab Indian restaurant coming in at 7. And then Mark Stegman. I was not here in town when he retired. So we're going to do the Chris and Mark deep dive in the 8 o'clock hour. Zach Yenser's coming up next on the Creative City Show.